A week, a goddamn week, and Zuko Midoriya was still missing. The first couple of days were filled with hope that he'd turn up by himself, unharmed. But a week? That was far too long for Class 1A to handle. They had no idea where he could have gone or who could have taken him. Worst of all, they had no leads. None. Zero. The classroom was fairly quiet, save for members that went. Todoroki sat in his seat, aimlessly scrolling through the newsfeed. They had kept the news about Midoriya's disappearance away from the media, so there wasn't really anything about him there. Still, he always checked, just in case someone saw him. As he was scrolling, the screen suddenly cut off. Huh? He stared at his phone in confusion for a minute, before the screen lit up again. This time, a video loaded. It seemed that everyone else got the video because he could hear gasps float around the room. The room in the video was dark, and for a moment, he thought maybe the phone wasn't on. A small click sound could be heard, and a small light illuminated the center. Sitting in a big comfy chair was none other than Izuku Midoriya himself. Todoroki felt arms wrap around him as he tensed up. Midoriya was shirtless, and every scar was on display, but the worst of them were nearly made him scream. Carved into Midoriya's milk-white skin was the word villain. He had a black blazer on his shoulders along with a tie around his neck, black dress pants, and gloves as well. "Are you excited?" a female voice asked from behind the camera. Midoriya smiled at the camera, not the warm, sweet smile they always saw. It was a sinister and evil one. "Excited? Why, I've never been so happy in my life," he said cheerfully, like he wasn't sitting there with the scars of torture spread across his body. "There is fun to be had, and have I ever turned down a good time?" The girl behind the camera giggled and jumped into view. Blonde hair tied into twin buns. They knew exactly who she was. "Hurry up, Izuku! I'm bored!" she whined before running off screen, her laughter trailing behind her. "So, Yue, how have you been doing without me?" he inquired, almost like he was starting a conversation. "Good, I'm sure." "No, we're doing terrible. Please, come back," Todoroki thought. "Did you miss me?" His tone was low and filled with venom. "You must not have, because you never came for me. I prayed and put my faith in you and everything I've ever done, and this is how you repay me?" he growled. "That's fine. It really is. I found my new family. They love me, and I love them." Those words felt like knives in Bakugou's heart. How could he ever think that they wasn't out looking for him? Didn't he know they loved him? He was their one and only, and to hear that he lost faith in them, it suddenly felt impossible to get air in his lungs fast enough, and he would have had a panic attack if it wasn't for Todoroki grasping his arm in a death hold. "I hope you find someone better, someone who will live to be the best hero. Remember this. Villain Deku will be the best. If not #1 hero, then #1 villain is much better." A psychotic smile spread across his face. "Good night. Sleep tight. Keep one eye open. All right?" The video abruptly ended. There was a moment of silence, but only for a moment. It started with Uraraka, then Sue. Before the blink of an eye, the room erupted with screams and sobs. Todoroki was held tightly by Bakugou. He was clawing violently at his chest. Bruises were most definitely going to show, but he could care less. Ugly sobs pulled from him. Words slipped from trembling lips. "No, no, 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 no! Give him back! Give him back!" He didn't have to look to know that Bakugou was holding back tears. His body was tense and his breathing was fast. Not as fast as Todoroki's. He was hyperventilating, unable to bring air into his aching lungs. "Breathe, Shoto, breathe," Bakugou whispered. Todoroki looked at him with wide eyes. It was blurry due to the amount of tears he was crying. Breathe? Can't just calm down and breathe. Our He choked on tears, unable to finish his sentence. He gripped at Bakugou's arms to ground himself. I know it hurts. It hurts me too. Just please, breathe for me. I need you to breathe, Bakugou said, voice wavering slightly. Todoroki nodded as he leaned into Bakugou's arms. I I know, he choked out, the shaking subsiding a little bit. Azawa entered the room, but didn't come past the doorway, a solemn look on his face. Classes for today and tomorrow are canceled. School is on lockdown as well, so don't even think about leaving. Everyone is going back to the dorms and to rest. He then turned on his heel and walked away. He ached, knowing that there wasn't much else he could do for his hurting students, but an emergency meeting of all the pros heroes was being held to come up with a plan. They needed to act fast, or else they'll lose Midoriya forever. Bakugou held Todoroki in his arms bridal style as they walked back to the dorms. They had calmed down just enough so that they were not screaming on their way back, but he was nervous the whole time. Bakugou slowly set Todoroki on his feet, making sure he wouldn't fall. I'm going to grab a blanket and some food. We're staying in your room. Bakugou ran off to his room. Todoroki stepped past the doorway. Once there, he slammed the door shut and locked it. Taking a look around, he could only feel conflicted emotions flooding his system. A broken wail made itself known as he punched the wall. Why him? He never deserved this! He shrieked, grabbing an All Might action figure one that Deku had given him on his birthday, and threw it across the room. It shattered upon impact. Before he knew it, he was trashing his room, trying to let out the rage that was taking over. Todoroki was one of the most level-headed people in their class. A cool attitude and a straight face that was what he was known for 98% of the time. He rarely showed his emotions, but now he was having a breakdown. He never cried so much in his whole life, and it hurt. It hurt so goddamn much. The things they did to Midoriya tore at his mind as scenarios flashed in his mind. He gripped his hair tightly as he sobbed, sinking to his knees. Shoto? Shoto, open the fucking door, Bakugou. Todoroki stood on shaking legs. He ran over to the door, falling on his knees right in front of it. He opened the door from a spot on the floor. Bakugou frowned as he looked around. He dropped the stuff on the bed, the only thing not destroyed during his rampage, and scooped Todoroki in his arms. The both of them sat on the bed. Todoroki was in Bakugou's lap with a blanket wrapped over both of them. They both cried for an hour or so. Do you think Izuku still loves us? Loves me? Todoroki asked quietly. The last question filled with insecurities. Bakugou squeezed him tightly. Of course he loves us, especially you. Those shithead villains did something to him. They'll pay for what they did with their lives, he said sharply. A letter was slid under the door. Azawa said to give this to you, said a female voice who was quickly identified as Mina. Bakugou grabbed the envelope and slid back into bed. Inside was a letter addressed to Shoshan and Kachan. Todoroki whimpered again, and Bakugou squeezed him as he began reading. Dear Shochan and Kachan, I already know you've seen the video. You know I'm not coming back, at least, not as a hero. But I thought I'd give you some words I didn't say in the video. I love you. I always have and always will. I want to see you two become the greatest heroes of all time. For me. I'll see you soon enough. I love you. Villain Deku. XOXO.